Good evening, folks. So, welcome to the WOSCRL Throwback Series with the 87 NASCARs. We are here for the second round at the Phoenix International Speedway. It is actually the old iRacing version of this track, trying to keep it as retro as we can keep it, obviously. It looks like we have a ambient temperature of 65 degrees Fahrenheit here, 27 degrees relative humidity, clear skies and no winds. We have a track temperature of 77 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not too bad. That should be okay for the guys to handle. This is a 1 mile oval, and as you can see on the track map there, it is a little bit of a odd layout. The turn number 1 and 2 are pretty tight, actually, and then we have a backstretch with a bit of a kink in there. And we have turn 3 and 4 being quite a bit wider than 1 and 2, so it makes for some interesting races here. The 1 mile oval of Phoenix, Arizona, folks. Welcome to the broadcast. This is Short Shift Broadcasting. My name is Mark, and we are probably getting ready to get into qualifying fairly shortly here. And let's see if we can bring up some of the current lap times in practice here. It does say that practice is going to be an hour 20 minutes, but it should be shortened and manually transferred into qualifying here in a little bit. It looks like Bruce Pearson is your quickest driver so far in a Ford Thunderbird. Then it's Drew Ballesteros and Russell Bratka. And let's bring up the standings from our first race that we had last week in Daytona. I apologize for the graphics, but I just recently received these. I had to do it quickly. Kyle Manger won the first race in Daytona. He's got 43 points out of that. Chris Stouffer actually finished in third there, but he's got some more points than Bobby Petricka, who finished in second there. Then it is Todd Liston, Russell Bratka, Drew Ballesteros, Evan Pienta, Luke Doran, Ben Shelton, and Jim Foskett, rounding out your top 10 as far as the standings is concerned. All right, let's bring on the action as we see it on the track. This is a classic track in the NASCAR circuit and in the IndyCar circuit, folks. And as you can see, some people are having a little bit of trouble with this track and these older NASCARs. As you saw in the introduction video, we have two cars here, the Chevy Monte Carlo of the 1987 season as driven by Dale Earnhardt, and Bill Elliott's Ford Thunderbird as driven in the 1987 season. So these cars have been replicated by iRacing, and they are a ton of fun to drive. They are definitely a little bit trickier to drive than the modern day NASCARs, but somebody's having fun. So we're going into qualifying here. It is individual qualifying, which means that they cannot see each other. They are on the track by themselves, but we can pick up anybody that is on track. And here is our first one out of the pits. That is Tristan Udaferis. And he's driving that number 10 car. I believe that's a Ford that he's driving. Yes, it is. And he is up for his first qualifying attempt here, getting past the line to start his first timed lap, I should say. Russell Bratka is out there on the track in a Monte Carlo there. Jacob Wobry is out there, and it looks like Sean Muzakis is already getting into trouble coming out of pit road there. Hopefully he can get her back on its way and get a good time in. There we have Lawrence Shaughnessy, Drew Ballesteros in the number 22. We are waiting for the first times to come in, and it is actually Todd Liston in the 87 Monte Carlo that is putting up a provisional pole time here of 29.32. I expect these guys to be fighting those cars a little bit, especially the back end. It looks like they're going to be a little bit loose. We do have a fixed setup here. That means that the drivers cannot really alter all that much on the cars, and they have to kind of take it as it is. They can change the brake bias a little bit, and they can change the steering ratio, but that is pretty much it. Drew Ballesteros in the number 22 car has improved that pole time to a 29.317. He is currently on the pole there. Russell Bratka is your second place driver. Bobby Petrica is now coming into the third position with a 29.523. Lawrence Shaughnessy is in fourth. Todd Liston, and it looks like my scoring is acting up a little bit there. It's not showing you what you need to see, so let's reload that real quickly. And it looks like we have 10 drivers that have posted a time. Tristan Udeferis being number 9 and Jacob Wobry being the 10th car at this point. He's already done with his attempt, and he is let's see, we have Brian Underwood somewhere out there on track. There he is in the number 77 car. We have a pretty good sized field, to 17 drivers if I see it correctly here, so that's a pretty good sized field. We are going to be running 165 laps here on the Phoenix Oval, and if we need to, we'll do one green, white, checkered. We have no fast repair, so the guys are completely depending on their abilities to keep the cars clean and free of damage. As we are looking at Joey Lowry, and Joey has not set a time yet. And Nicholas Post has just brought in a time. He pushed himself into the 6th position there. That's a pretty good time for him. There you see that back end stepping out as they get on the throttle, coming off the turns. That might be a little bit tricky. As you can see, maybe for those of you who are into NASCAR racing, the backstretch here is not completely asphalted, and there is still grass on the inside there, and that has changed on the newer track. So we are running the old version of Phoenix. We're trying to keep everything as authentic as we can in this series. And there we have Joey Lowry. He has posted a time. That was a 30.318. He improves his time there and pushes himself into the 12th position, right ahead of Tristan Udeferis. Jacob Wobry is in 14th. We are still waiting for Kyle Manger to come onto the track. Sean Mazakis and Luke Doran have not yet been out, and I'm kind of guessing they're going to try and start in the back here because 15 seconds means that qualifying is pretty much over, and they won't be able to set a time anymore as the seconds are taken away, folks. Beautiful track here at Phoenix, Arizona. I've always loved this track. It's a great place to race. It's always very close racing. It's very tight. As you see the pace cars taking position there on the main straightaway. Let's bring up that grid for you really quickly. It is Bruce Pearson in the number 20 car that's going to be sitting on pole position here. And alongside him will be Skylar Grissom. Then it's going to be Chris Stouffer and Drew Ballesteros on the second row, Russell Bratka and Nicholas Post on the third row, Brian Underwood and Bobby Petrica on the fourth row, Lawrence Shaughnessy and Todd Liston on the fifth. The sixth row will be for Jim Foskett and Joey Lowry, and the seventh row will be for Tristan Ferris and Jacob Wobry. Kyle Manger and Luke Doran on the 8th row, and the lone driver on that 9th row will be Sean Muzakis. Did not set a time in qualifying either. So we have several drivers that did not set a time there, but that's okay. 17 drivers starting the race here. We are looking forward to another night of fun with these old machines. This brand new series here on Short Shift Broadcasting. And we have have to reload that scoring system once again because it doesn't seem to always want to do what I want it to do. There we go. All right, folks. Looking forward to 165 laps of Throwback series here, presented to you by Future Designs Building Materials, and we appreciate their sponsorship. And we are crazy about these old machines. We love the sound. We love the way they handle. They're a handful, but that's what makes them a lot of fun. One pace lap here at this track. And it looks like something's not really working the way it should. Got to reload this again because it's not giving me the correct order. Bear with me here, folks. There we go. That's better. Bruce Pearson, that is your leader. That's what we were looking for. And it looks like we are ready to go. There we have the green flag. They are on their way here in Phoenix, Arizona. 165 laps to go. Bruce Pearson takes the lead in that number 20 Crown machine. The DuPont car of Skylar Grissom in second position there. And then it's Chris Stouffer and Drew Ballesteros. Ballesteros kind of caught out on the high side there, and that is not helping him all that much. It looks like the 13 of Stouffer is staying ahead of him. They're still side by side. These guys like to give each other quite a bit of room because these cars can be a little bit of a handful coming off the turns, folks. So that's the reason you saw Ballesteros stay up a little higher there. Back end of the field looking pretty good. Somebody is on the apron there. See if we can find out who that is. That is Sean Mouzakis that had a little issue. We can try and bring that back for you. If we see that correctly, there you have him. He's going a little sideways there, losing the back end, but he's back on his way. There you have your leader, and actually it is Drew Ballesteros that's already picking up second position here. He has run the quickest lap of the race. He's staying a little high up there. It looks like Skylar Grissom's dropping off a little bit there in the 24 car. He's seems to be in a little bit of trouble here. He's been passed by Stouffer and Bratka as well, and now it's Nicholas Post that is getting around him, or trying to at least. We have an issue for Mouzakis once again. He is not... Yeah, he's losing that back end once again, coming off of turn number 4 and noses it into the wall. We're not going yellow as the race line was not really obstructed here, but then he tries to get it going and it's still not going. And we are still not going yellow, as far as I can tell. Not sure if they have yellows tonight. They should. We have Bratka in the number 11 currently improving the quickest lap time in the 4th position there. The black car with the red lining on it. And Bruce is still hanging on to that lead. He's got almost a second on Drew Ballesteros. There you have Drew in that black number 22 car. 2 Fords leading the Chevys, and then there's a whole bunch of Chevys and another Ford. It looks like the Chevys are in the majority here tonight. Last week we had a better a split of the 2 brands, I believe, but it looks like we only have 5 Fords of the 17 machines. And it looks like Mouzakis had another off. There he is again in that 86 car. It looks like Sean has a very hard time here tonight. Hopefully he can get to grips with that car and get it into the right direction. Ballesteros more than a second behind Pearson now, and it looks like the 13 of Chris Stouffer is making his life a little bit harder there. Stouffer and Bretka are behind him. It looks like Stouffer is gaining on the 22 a little bit. Let's go check on Skylar Grissom. He fell off to 6th position there. And we have Muzakis coming down pit road, and it wouldn't surprise me. Ooh, he is taking a toe to his pit. Well, we'll see if he comes back out again, but obviously he still has a little bit of work to do. Drew Ballesteros still seeing that number 13 STP Chevy in his mirrors there, and that's kind of what that looks like. Looks like the 13 can run a bit lower there. And then Drew comes off the turn pretty good. He seems to like that middle line a little bit more than the 13 does. I always find it interesting how different lines work better for different drivers. The lower line usually means that you work that right front wheel a little bit hard. On these cars, I wouldn't be surprised if it also means that you punish that right rear a little bit harder, because you're leading an awful lot of weight on a tire that is also trying to push the car forward, and the higher line obviously makes the radius a little bit bigger, and that usually helps to keep those tires a little bit cooler. And it sometimes, on most tracks, it also gives you a little bit better run off the turns, and that would suggest that always the higher side is quicker, but that's not the case, obviously, because the lower line is at less distance. But there is a flip side to every coin, obviously. And it looks like Sean has still got that car on pit road. They might be working on it. See if they can get that damaged sheet metal straightened out a little bit. Let's go and check on Skylar. Skylar has dropped off to 10th position now, so he's in a little bit of trouble, it seems. He started out pretty strongly there, but it doesn't seem to be able to maintain that speed right now. And if we take a closer look at his car, we can try to see if there's any damage that he's already picked up. It looks like he has scuffed that right wall a little bit with the right front there. All right, Nicholas Post is in 5th position there in that Napa car, the number 9. Hanging with Bratka there and the group in front of Bratka. Brian Underwood is also hanging with these guys fairly well in that number 77 Monte Carlo. And then we have Bobby Petrica. He's about a little over 3 seconds further back there. As you may remember, Petrica came in second last week in Daytona. Did a very good job at the end there. Didn't expect to be there, but things just turned out his way there. Jim Foskett in the 47 car also ran a pretty nice race there, especially the first half.
Flag is out.
We have our first caution. Let's go find out what has happened. It looks like Nicholas Prost is in trouble. Ooh, it is the 11th that hits the wall and bounces back into the number 9 there. That's pretty unfortunate for the both of them, really. Let's go and find what happened there to Russell Bratka, if we can bring that back real quick. This is going into turn number 3, and he just kind of overshoots that entry. Too late letting go of the gas and touching the brakes. It just throws him around a little bit, and he takes the 9 with him. Alright, so we have a bunch of guys in pit road. Chris Stouffer in the 13 coming in. Brian Underwood, Skylar Grissom bringing it in. Yeah, he's definitely got some damage on that right front there. He may have even actually bent the suspension a little bit, and that would explain that he doesn't have the same speed as what he started with. So Bratka also coming down pit road. Nicholas Post obviously also looking for some repairs here. Kyle Menger is on the 55 there. He did start the race in the back. And looks like his car is still looking pretty good there. He's already back out. Underwood back out. And Grissom, Bratka, Post obviously need a little bit more repair time there. Lap number 17 of 165, so good start to the race here. Pearson looking to be pretty strong here tonight in that Thunderbird. Ballesteros in that 22 Ford was very strong in Daytona as well until he was actually strong even with the damage he picked up. And it looks like we have Joe Lowry on pit road there in the number 7 car. And he's not entirely free of redesigning at the front end. But he looks like he can continue there. That right front seems to be like it's been up against the concrete there. And it looks like the lights on the pace car have been turned off. If I see that correctly. Yes, indeed. Looks like we're staying single file. Sean Mouzakis has not left the pit yet. He may have called it a night.
Green.
There we go. We're racing once again. Bruce Pearson hits the gas. It looks like Drew Ballesteros can stay with him pretty good. Reacted immediately when Bruce hit the gas. And it looks like Petrica is picking up that 3rd position there. With Foskett behind him, Tristan Udeferis is in 5th. And Lawrence Shaughnessy in 6th. Bobby Petrica in that 25 car. Looks like he is leading the 2nd group, and Bruce and Drew are kind of out there. They've got about a little over 7/10 of a second on those guys now. They seem to have stuff under control. And he's looking pretty solid. Let's ride along here with you. As we say that things are going well, it looks like they're not going well. And let's see here. It looks like Skylar Grissom got into trouble. Ooh, it's happening ahead of him. It's actually the 13 of Stouffer that gets into trouble. Let's bring that back and see what happens to him. He looks like he gets a little tap in the back there and then can't keep it off the wall. and then several other drivers running into him. Let's bring that back one more time. We'll keep an eye on the black car behind the 13. Yeah, it looks like he gets shoved up a little bit there by the 77. And then he can't keep it going in the right way, and others collected by the issue here. A lot of people on pit road. Todd Liston, Russell Bradka, Skylar Grissom, Nicholas Post back on pit road, Kyle Manger, he's back on pit road. And the rest of them are staying out. The first 10 drivers are staying out, it looks like. And we see Nicholas going back out there. Todd Liston. A little bit of damage on that front end. Bratka. Same thing. Skylar Grissom. He's coming back out. And he's following Stouffer. All of them are slightly redesigned. Joey Lowry. Manger and Stouffer trying to catch back up. Brad got back on pit road. The reason they do that is they go back on track before the others come out of turn 3, so they don't go down a lap. Then they'll drive around as quick as they can and go back into pit road and get some more repairs that way. And that way they can get repairs without going down a lap. That's the objective. And so far, that's been working for all of them, because as you can see on the left side of your screen, we have only Muzakis down 18 laps. He has not moved since he went into pit road. And it looks like we're going to go back to racing, going into lap 26. Bruce Pearson has led all the laps so far. He's running very strong there up front in that Crown liveried car. The only one that's been sticking with him so far is Drew Ballesteros in that 22, so it looks like the Fords are doing pretty good, because Foskett and Ferris are also moving up through the field.
Green, green, green.
There we go. Once again, Bruce Pearson hits the gas. Drew Ballesteros follows him into turn number 1. It looks like this time Bobby Petrica is staying with the 22. Let's see if he can maintain that, because in the last time around he had a little trouble staying with that number 22. Petrica being the lone Monte Carlo between 5 Fords at the top of the field. That almost makes you wonder if those Fords are just handling a little bit better on this track here. Jimmy Foskett in the 47, running there with the number 10 of Tristan Udeferis. There's actually somebody in between there. Nope, there's not. My bad. That there is Lauren Shaughnessy in that black and purple car. The number 3. Leading the rest of the field, which is all Monte Carlos right there from here on down, except for the one of Muzakis still on pit road. Pearson and Drew Ballesteros once again escaping from the rest of them. They have about a little under a second on Patrica. There you have the Chevy driver, closely followed by Jim Foskett in yet another Thunderbird, and then Tristan Udaferris in the final running Thunderbird. So currently, only 4 of the cars running are the 4 Thunderbirds, and they are all in the top 5. Now, obviously, these are fixed setups, and I'm sure iRacing works pretty hard on keeping it as equal as possible. But that doesn't mean that these cars are exactly equal. They are not. They replicate what we had back in the day, and the NASCAR wasn't as stock as it is these days, because basically right now the only difference between the cars is a little bit of body shape and paint and the engine, but other than that they are all exactly the same, and that did not used to be that way. Ooh, there the number 10 has a ballsy move there for the number 10 driver, Tristan Udaferris, almost taking Jim Foskett out, and then he's actually losing time, and that allows Brian Underwood to come between these two guys. May have overshot the turn there a little bit and burned up on that rubber some. And Jimmy Foskett now defending against the 77. Looks like Brian is ahead on that higher line there. Gets off the turn fairly good. And it looks like he pulls a good distance on Jim Foskett there. Now going after the 25 of Bobby Patrica. Yeah, he's looking strong. He's looking very, very strong. Drew Ballesteros is passing the leader. Let's bring that back here for you. It's on the main straightaway coming off of 4. And going into turn number 1, it looks like the 22 takes the lead away from the 20. They swapped positions here. They're still quite a ways out there. The 20 coming back again. No, can't get it done. He's got to get out of it there. Underwood has passed Patrica for third pretty solidly there. Already walking away from him. And currently it looks like Brian Underwood is one of the quickest cars on the track. Another quick car that we see is Kyle Manger. He is working his way through the field and already up into 5th position, also getting past the 2 Fords there, and looking to get after Bobby Patrica. Can't quite get it done yet, but he's looking very strong as well. Brian Underwood is closing the gap to Bruce Pearson. Bruce has fallen back off of Drew Ballesteros a little bit. Kyle Manger making the pass for 4th. And he is putting Bobby Patrica in his place there. Brian Underwood closing in on Bruce Pearson. It looks like we've got ourselves a race on our hands here between the Fords in front and the two or three Chevys behind him, then another 2 Fords. Ooh, 77 runs a little wide there. It's all about tire management on these longer stints, obviously. They actually only got 5 sets of tires to play with, so they don't have unlimited rubber at their disposal. They'll have to manage it a little bit, although I will say 5 tire sets should be plenty for a 165 lap race. There we see Brian Underwood going past the 20, picking up 2nd position, working that Monte Carlo to the front of the field here. And Kyle Manger has closed the gap to Pearson as well. So these guys are running pretty strong. Skylar Grissom is struggling tonight. He is dropped back to the 15th position. Chris Stouffer, after his incident, is also back there and not really having the best of times anymore. Drew Ballesteros is still in the lead, and out the back of his car we are looking at the nose of the 77 Monte Carlo that is gaining, running very strong. And it looks like Bruce Pearson is, he's hanging with him, but he's not that convincing anymore. Kyle Menger is still going at it, and it looks like Tristan Udeferis has gained some speed again. Foskett, he has actually passed Foskett. Foskett is in 6th position now. And Foskett has definitely dropped off there. Manger closing in there on the 20. Looks like he's pounding up the pressure here for the 20 driver, Bruce Pearson. Closing in there. Showing himself to the inside. He should be able to get to the inside in 3. And he actually can do that pretty nicely here, not washing up at all. It looks like the 20 has asked a little bit too much of his tires. And Tristan Udeferis is ready to take over in that green Interstate Thunderbird. So your previous leader, Bruce Pearson, is dropping down the order here, going down to 5th position currently. Ballesteros is still out there. He is hanging on to that lead fairly nicely. He's got about 6/10 of a second on Brian Underwood. Brian there in the 77 machine. Kyle Menger in 3rd. That bend up front end doesn't seem to hurt him all that much. Aeroflow is not that big of a deal on a track like this, although it might hurt you a little bit. Tristan Udeferis in the 4th position, the number 10. Bruce hanging on to 5th. And then Lawrence Shaughnessy is in a group here with Jimmy Foskett. Lawrence has passed Foskett, and Bratka is at the verge of doing the same thing here. So Shaughnessy is moving up. Well, it looked like we had a strong start for the Fords, but the Chevys are on their way back here. Ballesteros hanging on to that lead. There we have the 7 of Lowry staying out of the way of these guys. Good sportsmanship. He's actually on his way into the pits. Looks like it's really not going his way here tonight. Well, it looks like Ballesteros has gained back a little bit of that advantage. Ooh, Manger is working his way past the 77, slip slide around the 10, throwing it in there. Very ballsy move once again. That is Tristan Udeferis. That's not the first time we saw him do that, but it works. He makes it stick. Manger coming back at him again. And I will say that Bruce is hanging with these guys, still doing pretty good. Good long green stint here, so I'm sure they're all feeling those tires falling off a little bit and then cooling them down a little bit. Where we had Skylar Grissom on pit road. Joey Laurie is back out there. And Drew Ballesteros is doing pretty good here, strong in the lead. He likes that lower line too, whereas we see others drift up a little bit more. He keeps that number 10 down by the line. And the 22 still hanging on to that lead. It's about a second and a half right now. Lap number 50. 77. Ooh, he washes up and scrapes the wall there. That's going to give Tristan Udaferris second position. Manger also closing in. And it kind of makes you wonder if it's just the tires or maybe just drivers getting a little fatigued there as well. And as said, folks, these cars are pretty, they're a handful. They're not that easy to drive, which gives you all the more respect to the guys that were doing this in the 80s and before. The safety, obviously, back then was not anything like we have these days. Manger has worked his way around the 77, as you saw there. And the number 10 of Tristan Udaferris is running pretty strongly, but it looks like he's actually gaining on Ballesteros. Yeah, he's seems like he can pull towards that number 22. Jim Foskett dropped down to 7th position. He still has a pretty good eye on Shaughnessy there. Bobby Petricka has dropped off to 10th. Looks like he's struggling a little bit more with that rubber. Chris Stouffer in 12th. Skylar Grissom and Joey Laurie are the only ones not on the lead lap. Grissom now 5 laps down, but he's trying to work his way back around. That's the 51 of Jacob Wobry he's passing. Let's go check back here at the lead. The 55 of Kyle Manger trying to stay with the 10. 10... the gain is mostly, as you see in the turns, they're coming towards each other, and then on the straights that 22 pulls away just like it did before, so it's a little bit deceiving maybe. If you look at the lap times, the 10 had a 31.1 and the 22 had exactly the same. Kyle Manger 31.1, the only one. So these top 5 guys are pretty similar in speed here. There's your leader. We can ride along with him for a little bit. And he seems to be liking that higher line at the entry of 3 there, and then coming off of 4, he dips down a little bit. Turn 1 and 2, quite a bit tighter than 3 and 4. And then we go full throttle through that kink here on the backstretch. And once again, starts up a little high, then brings it down underneath in 4, and off the turn onto the main straightaway. And the 10's not exactly tip-top shape anymore either. Let's keep an eye here on Kyle. Kyle is, he's passed Brian as we saw, but Brian's hanging with him pretty good there in that 77 car. And then a second down, a little bit over a second down, we still have Bruce Pearson in 5th position. Lawrence Shaughnessy, is he gaining a little bit? Yeah, he's walked away from Jim Foskett. Foskett now coming under attack of Luke Doran. Well, that's actually Grissom in the 24, Luke Doran in that 4 car, the Kodak livery. So Grissom has picked up a lot of speed, but he's got a ways to go. He's 5 laps behind, so he kind of could use some yellows falling his way. Boast coming down the pits. That means he's going down a lap there, but Drew Ballesteros passing by him. And Tristan's gaining. He is definitely gaining. It's not going all that fast, but it is happening. Ooh, Manger gets in trouble there. Let's bring that back for you. He gets a little sideways here. Almost loses it. Pretty good save. Todd Liston on pit road as well. There he is, getting new tires. So some of them are now starting to feel those tires go off the bad enough for them to take the chance on a green flag pit stop and hoping that they can catch back up with new rubber. But as you can see, the guys that have been in the pits have immediately lost a lap there on Drew Ballesteros. Liston actually 2 laps down. Post actually now 2 laps down. So green flag pit stops are kind of hurting. And Manger may have had that little issue, but he did get by Tristan Uniferis. Maybe we can bring that back for you. There it is. On the backstretch underneath in the kink. Back live again. They are still seeing Brian Underwood running fairly strongly with him. Bruce Pearson, oh, he's not that far behind either. Shaughnessy is not gaining on Pearson. Ballesteros still out there. Manger. Well, the gap has increased a little bit again. It looked to me like Tristan was trying to close that gap, but he could not maintain that. Let's ride along with Tristan here, see if his hands movements are giving away how the car is handling. Looks like he's still doing pretty good. If anything, he's getting more push than oversteer. I think the guys are doing a very, very good job here, folks. So, we had the 7 in trouble here. Let's see what happened there. He's trying to stay out of the way, but then he loses the car with 2 wheels on the grass and almost creates havoc there. He's once again on his way into the pits obviously not happy with how the car feels. Skylar Grissom is running along, and his lap times are looking pretty good. 31.3. That's better than some of the leaders, but he's got 5 laps to make up. Brian Underwood in trouble. Ooh, let's see what happened here. It's actually the 10 of Tristan Udeferis that gets in trouble. Let's bring it back a little bit further, wider angle, so we have a good idea what's going on. They're on the backstretch going towards turn number 3. The 77 goes underneath, and he touches the 10. That brings the 10 into the wall, and then he can't keep it up. They're both kind of getting in trouble there. The 77 a little bit too deep in that turn. And it looks like the 10 took the advantage of being at pit road entrance right there anyway, so he figured he might as well do it right away. And he's back on his way. Lap number 71, closing in on halfway here. Ballesteros doing a very, very good job at the lead here, and he's actually extending that lead almost 2 seconds now on Kyle Manger in that 55 car.
The yellow flag is out.
There we have a trouble situation, and looks like it is the number 10 of Tristan Udeferis that gets into trouble once again. Loses the back end. Not steering into that slide at all. He saves it from going into the wall, so I will say he still did a pretty good job not going into bigger trouble than he already was in. And then he obviously has to wait for everybody to make sure he doesn't create more trouble than necessary. It drops him down the order to 13th position. And I'm fairly sure we'll see everybody coming down pit road for new rubber and some fuel. Lap number 72. There you have him. Drew Ballesteros coming in. Kyle Manger, Pearson, Underwood, Shaughnessy, Doran, Bratka is there. Patrica, Stouffer, and I see Foskett coming in. And then the lap drivers obviously will have to wait until the next lap. There's Ballesteros on his pit stall. Pearson. And it should be that Drew will come out first. That would make sense. There he comes. Good pit stop. Car still looks pretty clean. And then we have Stouffer and Wolbury coming out. Oh, Stouffer's still sitting there. That was not Stouffer going out. That was Patrica. Todd Liston still out there. He's coming in now. He's just been in. And Nicholas Post pitted last on lap 59. And with all that mishap, Tristan actually went down a lap as he pitted right after that incident. Up at the front, it's Ballesteros, so it looks like the 9 and the 10 are in front of the leader, between the leader and the pace car. So they'll be waved around before we get going. And actually, Skylar Grissom is there as well. He's brought it down from 5 to 4 laps now. So he's gaining. These yellows will fall his way. Lawrence Shaughnessy coming back out. Todd Liston coming back out. Joey Lowry coming back out. Okay, so they don't send them around. They put them on the inside line. I guess that's the way they did it back then. And I kind of like how iRacing allows you to set things up that way. Going into lap number 76, folks, we're going to go back to racing. The pace car will be pulling off, and Drew Ballesteros will get us back underway here.
Green flag, green flag.
And a nicely wait on the radio call. Grissom is coming with that 22 into turn number 1. Drew has a wider line there, and that seems to work well for him. Look at his gap already. Manger coming underneath Grissom now. Pearson seems to be working his way up there. And the 11 of Russell Bratka. Luke Doran up there in 5th position. That's a good jump forward for him. Brian Underwood in 8th position. Ooh, the 10 back in trouble. That is Tristan Udaferis. He's in trouble once again. Let's see what happened here. Looks like he lost the back end. No yellow, back on his way. Ballesteros in the lead. He's got a full second on Manger already. It doesn't seem to matter much to Drew if he's on old tires or new tires. He's just pulling away. He's got a very good car. He's got a very good driving line. He's very smooth. And let's go a little bit further down the field. It looks like Russell Bratka has passed Bruce Pearson. Pearson in 4th. Luke Doran in that yellow number 4 car, the Kodak livery. He's in 5th. Brian Underwood in 6th. Then it's Jacob Wabry, Bobby Petricka, Lawrence Shaughnessy, Jimmy Foskett having a little bit more trouble keeping up there, and Chris Stouffer has been in trouble since that incident he was in, so he's just fighting that car a little bit, I guess. Todd Liston is there with Tristan Udaferis, the number 10, trying to make up for lost time. Joey Lowry is in 15th, still hanging in there. And Grissom is further up in the field there, but he's 5 laps down still. And looks like Ballesteros is now coming under pressure. Manger and Bratka have caught up with him. Pearson in 4th, and then Doran in 5th, and these guys are all pretty much forming a string of 5 cars here. the leading group. Ryan Underwood kind of by himself there. And Drew is hanging on. It looks like the 5 gets into that turn a little bit deeper. And that 22 is maintaining that higher side there, and I guess he likes it there. It feels good to him. It works for him. They're closing in on each other for sure. .55 coming underneath now. There he goes. He passes for the lead. Drew Ballesteros is being challenged here. Not giving up, though. He's got a good car there. Now, once again, the 55 on the lower line. Ooh, they're getting close together there, and he gets off the turn on that higher side. Puts the 22 back in front. And the 55 going to try again. And he hangs on. He does a good job at that. He is doing really nice. 55 and the 11 of Bratka in his draft there. Bruce Pearson still in 4th, Luke Doran in 5th. And it looks like Underwood is picking up the pace as well. He's going to have a part of this group. He's going to be a part of this group pretty soon here as well. Kyle Manger is going to try again. Keep an eye out for him. Into turn 3, and low he goes once again. It looks like the 22's got a little bit higher than he wanted to there. Manger picks up first position. Now it's going to be up to Drew to counterattack here. And he's back on that high side. And now it's Manger holding him off there. The 11 starting to get into the mix here. Drew Ballesteros in 2nd position. Let's ride along with Drew. And he keeps that higher side. It looks like he's washing up a little bit further than he really should. But he does get off the turn pretty good and closes in a little bit. But it looks like Kyle also has a pretty good car here. And now it'll be up to the drivers to try and conserve their tires as good as they can to make them last long. Oh, they don't have to. Yellow's out. Let's go and find out what happened. It looks like Bratka got in trouble. Let's see what's going on here. He's to the inside, going into 3. Ooh, washes up, can't hold it. Touches the 4, touches the 20. Foskett can't get around him there. What I will say is that Brutka does a good job just staying there, not moving until he knows he can safely do so. It was unfortunate that Foskett couldn't steer around him, but I would not have wanted to see the 11 move because that obviously creates more trouble than we want. Ooh, now we're getting interesting here. Ballesteros is staying out. And Magger, Doran, Pearson, Underwood, all of them coming in for new rubber. But Drew Ballesteros is taking his chances here. 87 of Liston going around there. The 9 of Nicholas Post behind the leader there, but he's 2 laps down. And everybody coming off pit road there. Stouffer still taking his time there. He's trying to get as much repairs in as he can possibly get before going down an extra lap. Now this will be interesting to see because Drew obviously has tires underneath that car that are 20 laps older, and it'll be interesting to see how he can make this work. I don't think the difference of old and new tires is as significant as it is in the newer cars, but at least it wasn't in Daytona, but we'll have to see how that plays out here. And let's see, that's Stouffer back on pit road. Grissom still being serviced right now. The 10 going out. There goes Grissom. Yeah, he's gained back 1 lap. Petricka in 8th. And Brian Underwood in 5th. Didn't lose too much then, evidently. And folks, it looks like we're getting back to green flag racing going into lap number 97 here at Phoenix, Arizona Raceway.
Hang on, we're not going green. Not going green.
The green has been called off, folks. Not sure what was going on. Oh, it was because Tristan Udaferis had another incident here. Trying to catch back up to the field. He washes up once again and steers it out of the wall. Trying to steer it out of the wall, he loses that back end. It looks like Tristan's struggling a little bit right now. But once again, folks, don't get me wrong. I've tried these cars, and they're not easy. So your left lane cars, folks, are your back markers. They are down 1 or more laps. And your top line cars are your leaders.
Green flag, green flag.
We're going to try this again, and it seems to be working now. Drew Ballesteros is staying ahead of Manger there. And once again, folks, we'll be anxious to see how Kyle can make that newer rubber work better than Drew's older tires. I'm not so sure that the difference is all that big, but we'll have to wait and see. Because here comes Kyle Manger. Ooh, that... Especially this early in the stint. Oh, we have another one. Todd Liston seems to be the person in trouble. If I can find him. There he is. Oh, he gets just a little tap from the 11 there, Russell Bradka. That sends him spinning around. And those cars do overturn fairly easy indeed. Now, Drew Ballesteros can be thinking about changing the game plan and going into the pits after all, but that's going to cost him a lot of track position right now. So he's opting to stay out there, but it looks like Kyle Manger's got some good tires underneath that car. And he is, at this point, the man to beat. Pearson in third, back up there, Brian Underwood in fourth, and Luke Doran still in fifth. Chris Stouffer, Todd Liston, Jim Foskett back on pit road. And these guys are using those yellow laps to get back on pit road every time to get as much of the repairs they possibly can. Bratka also back in, Post back in, Lowry. Tristan is back in. And it looks like we're ready to go back to racing again, going into the 103. Liston, the last one to come off pit road there. Nope, back into pit road. Ooh, misses his pit stall, has to back it up. That's costly. Grissom once again on that inside line. And all your leaders on the outside line there.
Green flag.
There
green
we
flag.
go. We are back at it again. Kyle Manger hits the gas a little early. Drew Pearson trying to stay behind him. I'm sorry, Drew Ballesteros. Bruce Pearson is in third there in the number 20 car. Then Brian Underwood in the 77, trying to get the draft from Grissom. And it looks like Kyle is pulling away a little bit here, but once again, he's on brand new tires, and that difference will even out in a little bit. Pearson and Underwood side by side for third and fourth place. It looks like Brian's going to be picking that up. And once again, 5 leaders there, even 6 with Bobby Patrica there. Lawrence Shaughnessy, Wobbly. There's a whole string of cars here that are all fighting for position, with Kyle Manger pulling away by about a second right now. Ballesteros, obviously, these tires did make a big change because Drew is having trouble keeping up the pace. And you wouldn't think so lap time wise, because he's running similar lap times, but he can't keep the car down, and the others are on new tires using that inside line and working very well on the newer tires. Pearson now behind Ballesteros, and Bobby Patrica coming up there in a 25 car. Yeah, Pearson has had a few issues also. His car's not quite clean anymore. There's your leader, Kyle. Brian Underwood in second, and it looks like he's gaining back some of that loss, as is Doran. Drew now in fourth position. If you look at the lap times, the quickest guys are Underwood and Doran. And we were seeing Shaughnessy moving up there. Coming to the inside of Ballesteros now. He's picking up fourth position. Ballesteros is in trouble. He'll be scratching behind his ears about that choice of staying out there while everybody was picking up fresh rubber. But it ain't over yet. Underwood and Doran are quicker than Manger, and then Shaughnessy is also a little bit more in the neighborhood of Manger's laps. Oh, he's going to lose. Oh, what a beautiful save. Oh, what a beautiful save. I am going to show you that again. Look at this. That's how you do that. Oh, that is skill. Very nicely done. Tell me again, you can't drift cars on iRacing, folks. You saw that was really good stuff. Brian Underwood has caught up with Kyle Manger there. And in third place, we have Luke Doran, and Lawrence Shaughnessy is leading the rest of the field here. Let's ride along there with Brian for a little bit. Chasing after Kyle Manger. Looks like he's closing in, and then a little earlier off the gas. Oh, you can see both these cars slip sliding around. And I don't know if you noticed, folks, but the amount of detail in that iRacing puts in this stuff is phenomenal. Look at the little fan blowing on the driver on his feet there. Back in those days, these cars were hotter than hell on the inside, and they had little fans to try and blow that air around a little bit, and even that has been replicated in this phenomenal model. There you have him, Brian Underwood in second position, trying to put pressure on Kyle Manger. Looks like Luke Doran is closing in a little bit on him. Nicholas Post in trouble. He's gone off track. Looks like we're staying green here. Let's see what happened to him. Classic moment of oversteer. Loose back end. Little bit too hot into the turn. Bounces off the wall. Well, if it don't get worse than this. See how Shaughnessy is catching up. He's 2.6 seconds behind Doran. That's quite a ways down. Pearson hanging on to 5th. Patrica in 6th. And Tristan Udeferis, he's actually back on the lead lap. And if we look at his lap times, they're not great, but they're not horrible either. About 0.3 of a second slower than the leaders currently. Leaders being Kyle Manger and Brian Underwood there. Pulled away from the rest of the field a little bit. It looks like Doran is catching back up to them. Doran running this classic Kodak paint scheme. I guess you'd have to explain to your children these days what Kodak film actually was. He actually had to get off the gas there not to lose the car on that curb. But he's doing pretty strong. They're all running 30.9 laps there. Then these first four drivers, they are actually right now it's only Kyle and Brian that are under 31 seconds. Let's go check on Drew Ballesteros. Yeah, he's in trouble. He's dropped down to 8th position. He's running right behind Bobby Petrica now, and he's not running bad at all. His lap times are 31.1. But yeah, he's probably regretting that decision of staying out while all the others were pitting. And that sometimes is the disadvantage of a leader as he passes Petrica. He's getting back into it a little bit, it looks like. But when you're leading, the guys behind you base their decision oftentimes on what you do when the pit lane gets open. And if you don't pit, then the choice is up to them to do it or not. But the leader basically has no reference but his own. Ooh, what a drift. Yeah, some of these guys are mastering this stuff really well. Let me guarantee you, folks, I've tried these cars, and it's not easy. It's about steering into the slide right at the correct moment and playing the throttle, feathering the throttle when you do. And if you do it wrong one way or the other, too little throttle or too much, you can send that back end around. Let's go and check on Kyle and Brian. They're still going at it here for the lead. Luke has... Look at Kyle doing the same thing. Oh, I love that. That is just freaking beautiful. Let's bring that back for you one more time here. Look at the 55. He'll be going into turn number 3. He loses that backhand. Look at that. Look at that. It's like rallycross. Absolutely amazing. All three of them are fighting those cars in the same fashion. Luke Doran is catching up. He's gaining on the lower side. He picks up second position from Brian Underwood there. And it looks like Kyle is pulling away just a tad here. Doran and Underwood following him. Shaughnessy's 3.5 seconds behind. Pearson 2.2 seconds behind Shaughnessy. So the field behind him is stretching out significantly. Drew Ballesteros trying hard to catch back up. His lap times, once again, folks, they're not bad, but and especially given the fact that his tires weren't changed since lap 72. The other ones have changed on lap 93. So the difference is kind of equaling. It's kind of leveling out right now. But obviously on the fresh tires, the guys in front of him pulled away a little bit. So Drew is basically trying to make up for lost time. And Luke is hanging with Kyle really nicely. Pretty much equal in speed. Underwood almost 0.8 of a second down on Doran. Lap times suggest that they're all equal in speed right now. And Shaughnessy, ditto, he's not slower than these guys in front of him. He's just got 3.6 seconds to make up, which he will if he keeps this up, but it's not going very quickly. Manger once again worked his way up to the front, and once he did, he was there to stay. Winner of your last race in Daytona last week. Looking strong here again in Phoenix, lap number 130. Slowly working our way towards the closing stages of this race, and once again, we've had a few incidents, but it's not excessive at all. I think all these guys are doing a phenomenal job keeping these 87 stock cars headed in the right direction. As you probably saw with me there, some of them actually doing some really good drift work. And I can guarantee you once again, folks, it looks a heck of a lot easier than it really is. iRacing putting an enormous amount of effort in trying to make this stuff as realistic as possible. Some drivers spending fortunes these days on steering wheels and pedals and even moving seats that replicate the real feel of the race car as good as possible. Almost to a point where you could almost buy a pretty decent small race car or go-kart. But to each his own. Obviously, it's not necessary. You can be competitive with entry-level stuff like steering wheels, as long as you have force feedback and you figure out with a little bit of help of YouTube videos to set it up right.
The yellow flag is out.
You can be competitive with cheap stuff. Let's go and find out what happened here. Looks like we have an issue for Todd Liston. Yeah, there we have it. Let's jump that back a little bit further. The 10 and the 87. Ooh, Liston loses it coming off the turn. Almost saves it, but not quite. At least he keeps it off the walls. Gets it back on track there, and on his way he goes. Well, that means we're going to be anxious to see who's all ready for tires. Well, look at that. Everybody is. And now what is Ballesteros doing? He's doing the same thing. He's coming in as well. That's going to equal out the pack here. Pearson and Drew Ballesteros close together there on pit lane. Yep. Tires on the outside. We'll see if he takes all four. He could go for maybe only taking the outside and gain back some of that track position, but then again, he's got the oldest tires of everybody there, so he's coming back out in sixth. That's where he was, so didn't lose anything. That's good. Manger in the lead still, Underwood in second. That means that Brian picked up 2 positions in pit road. Lauren Shaughnessy in third, and Doran drops to fourth. Part of the problem is their position of the pit stall, which is based on their qualifying position. So if you qualified further back, your pit stall's further back, and you have more traffic in pit road to deal with. Bratka is into the pits here. Number 11 car still on the lead lap. Actually, we still have 13 drivers on the lead lap, and Stouffer back on the lead lap. That's pretty good. It tells you how close it all is. I've seen races this far in where there would only be 5 or 6 people on the lead lap. So yeah, they're all doing a pretty good job. Well, if you look at the battle between the brands, the Chevys take up the first 4 positions, and then the next 4 are Fords. So it was earlier in the race, it was the other way around, with the Fords being more dominant, but it looks like the Chevy guys have picked it up and put those Thunderbirds in their place. folks, we're going to go back at it, going into lap
Green
number
flag, green
38.
flag.
There is the green flag. Kyle Manger on the gas. Brian Underwood in second. Lawrence Shaughnessy in third. And now we'll be anxious to see what Drew Ballesteros can... ooh, we have Pearson going around. Let's see what happened here on the restart going into turn number 1. Looks like he does get a little bit of a tap of the 22. The 22 runs a little wide as well, and the 20 cannot save that back end from coming around. Well, he's back moving, but he lost a lot of time there. Brian Underwood challenging Kyle Manger for the lead on the outside there. Manger having... oh, he can't save it. He can't save it. Ay.
The yellow flag is out.
Let's bring that back. Two of them going at it here in turn 3 and 4. It looks like Kyle is a little bit too hot into the turn. He can't save that back end from coming around. At least he's staying off the walls. Oh, too bad. Almost had it. And that drops him back to 11th position or something like that. So he's got his work cut out for him. And guess who moved up into 3rd position? There we have Drew Ballesteros, longtime leader earlier. Now he's on fresh rubber, and the battle is leveling off here. He's back into 3rd. Brian Underwood in the lead. Lawrence Shaughnessy in 2nd. Let's go and take a look at Skylar Grissom. He's still running. And he's brought the deficit back to 3 laps down from 5, so he's doing a good job trying to pick all that back up. Stouffer on pit road. Bretka on pit road. Bruce Pearson in 10th now after that earlier spin. And the number 10 has slowly worked his way back into the 6th position. Car doesn't look all that new anymore, but he's not given up, and he's been keeping at it. Brought himself back up into 6th position. Bobby Petrica in 7th here. And Stouffer has been in the pits, back at it again. As you see, the field's coming up behind him, so he's not going down a lap. He is actually still on the lead lap. Looks like the 9 of Nicholas Post is being waved around here. He gets to get, and that brings him back on the lead lap as well. So once again, 143 laps in, we have 13 drivers on that lead lap, and that's not because we have done a lot of yellows, because we haven't done a lot of yellows. Lights on the pace car have been turned off, so into lap number 144, we're going back to racing. That gives us 22 laps to go. And there we go.
Green,
Back
green,
at it
green.
again. Brian Underwood has a good jump on Lawrence Shaughnessy there. And Drew Ballesteros already on that outside. And we know he can make that outside work fairly nicely, so he picks up second position and he's ready to go back after Brian Underwood. And as you can see, that lower line works really well for the 3 to dive into the turn a little bit deeper, but the 22 maintains that higher side and he keeps a little bit more momentum coming off the turn. As you can see, he pulls away from Lawrence a little bit there. Half a second to Brian Underwood. He likes that higher line. It's he's one of the few drivers that likes to keep that car there all through the turn, except for the last little bit. As he comes onto the straightaway, he goes down a little bit. But here in turn 1 and 2, he keeps it up high as well. Basically in the second lane, I guess you could say. Ooh, a little bit loose off the turn there. He's actually fastest on the track. He's just improved the fastest lap time to a 29.55. Lawrence almost losing it there. Luke is closing in on him. And that 4 coming to the inside. He wants that third position. And it looks like he gets it done. Side by side coming onto the main straightaway. He's going to make it stick here in turn 1, maybe. Well, ooh, a little bit under that yellow line. Be careful with that. It's still not settled. And now it looks like he's going to nose that number 4 ahead. Well, gee, I talked too quickly because that number 3 is not giving up. Ooh, we have an issue. Oh, Skylar Grissom. That is so unfortunate. He's been doing so well trying to come back into the race. Worked his way back, 2 laps deficit taken back. And then he washes up into the wall. Bounces off and can't save it. Well, hopefully the damage isn't too bad. He's rolling. Let's see if we have some takers on pit road. Lap 150. This is going to be tricky for everybody because obviously we're getting to a point where you do not want to lose your track position if you don't have to. And it's not like the newer cars where new tires last only 10 to 12 laps and new tires give you a major edge over the ones that don't get those tires. Well, this is significant because Brian and they're all coming in. Nope, they're playing with each other. Bobby Petrica falls for it. He goes in. Todd Liston, Pearson, Bratka, Stover, and Posts, they are coming in. But yeah, Brian Underwood had me fooled there as well. He was pulling a good stunt on us here. Drew Ballesteros was going to follow him in, but as said, he will not be the only one. Obviously, track position is becoming very important right now. It'll be less than 15 laps to go by the time we go back to racing. So, yeah, they don't want to give up track position if they don't necessarily need to. see, we have Lowry back on pit road. Where as much as he's been struggling and trying to get that car fixed up little by little, he's only 3 laps down, which is really not that bad. Grissom didn't lose another lap with his little spin there, so still not all that bad of a deal. Looks like we're getting ready to go back into racing. Lap 140, 154, and that gives us 12 laps.
Green flag, green flag.
Once again, Underwood gets a pretty good start. Drew Ballesteros hangs with him. Let's see what Drew can get back here. They're pulling away from Shaughnessy. And again, that lower line allows Shaughnessy to go into the turn a little bit deeper. But then coming off, it doesn't really get him any closer to the 22. Doran in 4th. Foskett back in 5th position. He's had a pretty steady race. Ooh, something has happened to Drew.
The yellow flag is out.
Let's see what this was all about. Looks like Bobby Petricka had a trouble. Well, more than one people have trouble. Petricka and the 20 of the 20 of Bruce Pearson got together there. But I believe that Ballesteros also had a bit of an issue here. Let's see what happened to him. Yeah, he scuffs the wall. Oh my goodness. Scuffs the wall, and that allows Lauren Shaughnessy to get underneath him and pick up 2nd position. Then they almost touch. And the yellow has come out for what happened behind him. So Shaughnessy has that 2nd position. Well, it looks like everybody's getting a little bit more racy here, and that leads to a little bit more mistakes. Well, that happens when you get towards the finish line. They're all fighting a little bit harder, obviously. It's basically, wouldn't say do or die, but it gets that way a little bit towards the end sometimes. But once again, folks, don't underestimate driving these cars, and I think all in all, this entire race, these guys have done a phenomenal job. And I'm sure fatigue is going to be starting to come in a little bit here. They've been going at it for an hour and 40 minutes. Which may not sound like a long time in comparison to real life racing, but on a simulator, an hour and a half is a good size race. That's a pretty long time to be sitting in that simulator, and I'll tell you, most of these boys will work up a sweat for sure. I know I do when I'm racing. Skyler back on pit road. Whoops, that sounded like he turned off the engine. There he goes again. And he's actually only 2 laps down now, so he's gained back a lot of what he lost earlier in the race. Position-wise, it doesn't help him all that much, but still, that's a good effort. Good effort. Lights are off. We're going to go racing into lap 160 of 165. That means 6 more laps of racing to settle this thing. And if we can't settle it, we still have one green, white checkered we can do. Let's hope we don't need it. Looks like Lawrence is trying to intimidate that 77 a little bit. There we go.
Green flag, green flag.
Brian on the gas, pulling away from Lawrence Shaughnessy. Drew Ballesteros in third. How does that car feel after brushing that wall? Looks like he's all right. Ooh, Brian's pulling away hard. And Luke Doran coming to the inside of Ballesteros there. Trying to at least. Bobby Petricka going in there pretty hard. Ooh, touches the 51 of Jacob Wobry.
The yellow flag is out.
We have another yellow. Looks like Nicholas Posts. Loses the back end. Oh, and then Grissom can't get around, runs into him. Unfortunate. Well, that's going to lead us to a green-white checkered, I'm sure. And Brian Underwood was pulling away really, really fast there. And after having brushed the wall earlier, Drew Ballesteros, that car does seem to me like it is is somewhat damaged on the right rear and right front. The entire front end is not exactly the way it was supposed to be. It does, for a minute there, I felt like it was hurting him on that restart, but we'll have to see. It was kind of surprising how easy it was for Brian to pull away there. All these guys' tires are no different from each other, so that is not the issue. Jim Foskett has worked his way back to 5th. Stouffer back to 6th. Tristan in 7th there. And Jacob Wobry back in the pits. Back out already. Let's look at Skyler there real quickly. He's unfortunately he had an early incident, went down 5 laps. He's brought it back down to 2. So good effort for him. Absolutely good race. All right, the lights on the Mustang have been turned off. We are going to be doing a green white checkered going into lap 166. So one chance to settle this thing. If we can't get it done without yellows, then that'll be it. Closing in on 2 hours here, so good time racing for these boys. And they're definitely trying to intimidate each other here.
Green,
There
green,
we go.
green.
Brian pulls away once again. Can he do it as bad as he did before? He's got a good lead there already. Shaughnessy in second and Drew Balestros going after the purple car. Oh, he's all over him. Yes, he's trying that inside. Can he do it? Ooh. Yeah, he's making it stick, but he's not far enough ahead yet to call himself second. We have Nicholas Post getting off there once again. Drew Ballesteros brings it to the inside of the three. The white flag is out. One more lap to go. Down the backstretch, turn 3 and 4, and that'll be it. Drew throws it in there as deep as he can get it. Gets a little tap on the back from the 3, but he picks up second position. Brian Underwood is your winner. Drew Ballesteros picks up second place, and Lawrence Shaughnessy a very nicely deserved third position. And Luke Doran got close there at the end as well, but he has to settle for fourth. And Jim Foskett in fifth, Christopher in sixth, Russell Bratka in seventh, Todd Liston in eighth, Bruce Pearson ninth, and Tristan Udefaris brings it home in 10th position. What a good finish there for Drew Ballesteros. Play nice, guys. There's no need to be angry. Brian Underwood is going to show us how you celebrate in these old machines. Putting his signature on the main straightaway here. There's your full results. Let's go and see if we have some people that want to talk to me. Let me see here. There's some people coming here. Let's see. Let's start with Lawrence here. Lawrence, this is Mark in the booth. You almost had second there, and on the last lap, it looked like Drew just got the better of you there. What happened? Was it tires?
He just threw one hell of a slide job on me, and I didn't lift for him, and he made it stick. He put it right in my line. It was a good move.
Yeah, I saw you. Neither one of you really lifted, and it looked like you tapped him on the back there coming out of turn 4, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I let him know that I didn't appreciate it, but Drew's a good guy. You know, he told me he was going to do it under caution, so I let him have it, and I race for interviews in these races, man. These guys are so much better than me. I don't have a shot at winning these races most of the time, but I enjoy the hell out of racing with these guys.
Well, don't talk yourself down there, Lawrence. I think you've been very solid all through the race, and you worked your way forward to the top 3 there. When it counted, you were there. So I think you got a pretty good result to take home, sir.
Oh, I'm pretty happy with it. I hadn't even ever driven this car at this racetrack until the session opened up, and just had to figure it out. Tires were a big thing here. They wore pretty bad. The car got tight and then loose and then tight again. So it was tough, but I figured it out by the end of it and put myself P3.
Well, very nicely done, Lawrence. Absolutely, it was fun seeing you race there for the line in that final green white checkered. Absolutely stunning race for a lot of guys. It looked like towards the end the yellows started adding up a little bit quicker after each other, but that's probably also the fact that everybody is just trying to make the significant moves towards the finish line. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, this league is so competitive, man. We're all so close on time in all reality. And when we get racy and things happen, especially at a racetrack like this. It's basically a short track. And you'll see that kind of stuff all season long where we get racy. Hopefully not as many cautions towards the end, but it's going to be hard racing all season long. And I look really forward to it.
Absolutely. I'm trying to get my results on screen here. There you have them. Oops, wrong results again. Something's wrong here. Give me just a second, guys. Well, there's something wrong with my scoring software here, but we'll get it figured out. We'll do it this way. You just get the results up there this way. It looked like you had 13 drivers on the lead lap, and I was talking about that earlier. That does indeed give me an idea how competitive this is. I mean, I do a lot of NASCAR style racing series on the broadcast, and there's a lot of series where after this many laps you have like 5 or 6 drivers on the lead lap. So I agree with you, Lawrence. It does look like it's pretty competitive.
Yeah, it's super tight field. Was all last season, is this season again, which is what I expected. And it makes for a lot of fun racing on a Saturday night.
Absolutely. All right, Lawrence. Thank you very much, my friend. Any love yous and thank yous you want to throw out there?
Yeah, yeah. Big thanks to my sponsor, Bumper Thumper. Couldn't put him in the broadcast booth last night in another league, but we did it tonight. First time on the car, so appreciate my brother-in-law Tierra Mendez and his startup company. The boys back at Highside Motorsports. My team over there, they're a whole lot of fun to sit and chat with while we race. My wife, Skyler, for putting this thing on. This in the Monday Night League. Really appreciate him. I know it's a lot of work. And you, Mark, for broadcasting it. You did a great job tonight. It's the first time I was able to hear you broadcast, so I was interested. You did us justice, a little bit more justice than we probably deserve. But appreciate it a lot, buddy.
All right. Thank you very much, Lawrence. All
Thanks,
right.
Mark. Have a good one.
You betcha. All right, Drew, let's move on to you. Do you regret not taking tires? When was it? Lap 93.
Yo, absolutely. I gave it away. I miscalculated about how much the tire fall off would be, but yeah, that one's gonna eat at me for a little bit, knowing that I gave that one up. But happy to take home second if I can't take home first.
It always is a little bit tricky when you're in the lead in those situations when the yellow comes out. You're up front there, and a lot of the other guys can basically make their decision based on what you do. You don't have that option when you stay out and the others go in, and you could at that point scratch yourself behind the ears and not sure whether that was the right call. But obviously that's a little tricky when you're up front there. Do I see that right, Drew?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. But I should have thought about that better, and there's just another kink that I need to work out. But I knew I had gone that first run. I had gone about 70 laps or so on one set of tires, so I was good. I was ahead of the curve there, and then that just put me behind by staying out. So all in all, that's how it is. That was fun racing with Lawrence there at the end. Just thankful to be able to recover.
Absolutely. It looked to me like when I was watching you race, you like that middle or really that second line, the second groove on the track a lot, and some of the others were staying closer to that yellow line, and on new tires that seemed to be working really well for them. It dropped you back to sixth position, but once the difference between the tires evened out, you were running the exact same lap times as everybody else. What is it that you like about that higher line?
this was tricky to figure out. I've raced here once or twice before, and I did miserably. I can't figure out these flat tracks sometimes. And after several hours of practice on this track, it really came to show that running that middle line, although it's not the fastest at the beginning of the run, it really pays dividends by, lap 20, 25. And if we had a longer run and we were even on fresh tires between Brian and I believe I believe I could have gotten there. But, the short run just wasn't my game.
I see. So basically, it helps you kind of conserve your rubber
Yeah.
there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
absolutely.
Good to know. All right. Well, Drew, I think you recovered really well there at the end. You made a little bit of well, I guess what Lawrence described as a do or die slide to get underneath him there, and you made it stick. Were you surprised that you got a tap in the back there?
No, I was I figured it was coming. Once I slid up in front of him, I made sure to tap the brake just to make sure. I knew if I slid up, he was going to cross over, and I wanted to make sure that I shut that door. So in order to do that, you got to slow down, and that's what got him to my bumper, which is fine. But that was fun racing with him. Our goal was we were joking on the radio that we were going to take out Brian, but he was just too good on the restarts for us to catch him. So. All in good fun. We really enjoyed that. That was really fun to battle out with Lawrence.
Absolutely. It was fun from this end as well, Drew. Thanks very much, my friend. Congratulations once again, second place. Any love yous and thank yous you want to throw in the world?
Yep. Just well, first of all, thank you to you for taking us on this season. I haven't talked to you yet, but thank you very much for being there and being with us for the rest of the season. Also, thanks to Brickhouse Gym and Majority Money and Merrill & Co. for sponsoring the car. And thank you to all the friends and family that are watching. I'm headed home to Georgia tomorrow to see the family, so I can't wait to see them. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right. Thanks very much, Drew.
Thank you.
Brian, it looked like you were on the better end there at the final stages of the race. You've been up there in the top 5 to 7 pretty much the entire race. You dropped off a little bit, you gained back up a little bit. You were pushing right pretty hard at Kyle Manger there for a while, and you finally got past him. Then obviously he had his incident. Talk us through that, Brian. Can you hear me, Brian? Brian, can you hear me? Well, I don't know what's. Brian, can you hear me?
Now we got some.
Okay. I was trying to get to you there, man. All right, Brian. Congratulations, first of all. It looked like you had the things pretty well under control there. You had a good battle there with Kyle Menger for a while to once you got up front there. You came from, I believe, starting position 7 or something like that, and it took you a little bit to get up there, didn't it?
Had to get some laps on my belt. I didn't get much practice this week. And just got lucky with the cautions how they fell, and nobody pitted because I had no tires after that one pit stop. So it just fell in place.
Well, sometimes you need a little bit of luck to make it all work, obviously, and sometimes it works the other way around. You get a lot of bad luck, and it doesn't work no matter what you try. So it sometimes it just falls your way, I guess.
You take it any way you can get it. And I think Drew obviously was the class of the field. Luke had a good car there. It'd been a good race if we got a green flag run.
Absolutely. Now it looked like we had some really good green flag stints for a while, and then obviously near the end, people get a little bit racier and stuff starts to happen. Were you surprised by that, or is that basically something you expect?
I pretty much expect it, especially a track like this. That line is pretty difficult, especially in 3 and 4. You want to take the high side. Usually, that was my preferred line because you could pinch somebody on the inside; they couldn't get no momentum. It's just how short track racing is.
So you guys are, as I see it so far, the Daytona track was the old track. This track is the old track. Is that something you guys have kind of chosen to do on purpose because of running the old car, or?
I'm pretty sure that's how Skylar has it set up, which makes it really interesting. I mean, everybody's run at the new tracks, and the old Daytona, which didn't work out for me at all. And but Phoenix is definitely I love the old track compared to the new one.
What do you like better about the old track?
And take away that pavement down on the trioval or whatever you want to call it down there, the dog leg. Um, it's to me, it's a lot more of a short track with that dog leg pavement. To me, it causes a lot more error.
Yeah, yeah. You know, a lot of times I feel that when they allow you to get on the apron and then you have to make that transition from the banking to the apron and back to the banking, that just throws off a lot of people, especially if they don't have a whole lot of experience with the car they're driving. I've never liked that idea. You know, the racetrack is the racetrack. You shouldn't be on the apron. But that's just my take on it. Brian, once again, man, good result for you. Fun race to watch. You did a really good job. It looks to me like all you guys up front there are doing a pretty good job of controlling this beast. It seems to me like it's a little bit more. It's heavier. It's a little clunkier. It oversteers a lot. But you guys do a phenomenal job of keeping the nose going forward, my friend. So congratulations on that. Any love yous and thank yous you want to throw out in the world?
I'd have to say thanks to these guys I raced with. I mean, we were probably 8, 10 cars deep there. They were running really close in lap times. Of course, you gotta say thanks to Skylar for setting everything up. And, I mean, you gotta thank you guys for broadcasting, coming on pretty short notice. I thought um, pretty much all everybody getting ready for Thanksgiving. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks very much, Brian. We appreciate it, sir. And we're going to try again one more time to see if we can get the correct results up here. Something's not working right here. Oh, boy. Let's see if we can get it figured out real quick. If not, we'll just do it this way. There you have your final results. We heard from your top three drivers: Brian Underwood, Drew Ballesteros, and Lawrence Shaughnessy. Good finish there for the numbers 2 and 3. A fun race to watch, all in all. As said, 13 drivers on the lead lap, which illustrates how closely these guys are matched up here. It looked like Sean Mazakis had a little bit more trouble there in the beginning, but I'm sure he'll come around as well. It takes a little bit of practice to get these cars figured out, obviously. So Kyle Menger, unfortunately, wasn't his night. He was running strong at the top there until it went wrong for him. So hopefully he'll be back again next time, and he'll get it all sorted out as well. So I'm not 100% sure where we're going next time. The schedule hasn't been put up on the league site yet, but I'm sure we'll enjoy these old cars on one of the older tracks again. Once again, a shout out to Future Designs Building Materials for sponsoring this league, the WOSCRL Throwback Series. We certainly had a fun night here tonight. We hope you did too, and we'll hope you join us again next time. We'll post the schedule, and we'll schedule the race on the channel. So I'm sure you can find out at the website of this series or the Facebook page of the series when exactly the next race is going to be. So thanks very much for watching. This is Short Shift Broadcasting. My name is Mark. Until next time, folks, take care of one another and stay healthy.